So what's the total amount? 22,500. So how much surplus is 12,500? It is adjusted to start working. If their minimum rent is more, royalty is less, the difference is called short working. Every short working should be recovered in next 2 years. Second year shortage is 15,000. What's the total shortage? 37,500 by balance carried down. Hello my dear students, I am Dr. B.S. Subramanya, called by name Dr. B.S.S., Professor in Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Aid College, a Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. In this session, I am going to have Advanced Financial Accounting, second semester, Unit 3, Session 2, in favor of royalty account. I am going to explain the last session I explained what is actually royalty. Royalty is nothing but a compensation payable by the user of the land called lessee to the owner of the land called lessor. Who will utilize? The lessee will utilize the patent right of the lessor. So whatever the amount of compensation the lessee is payable to lessor is called royalty. I will explain now with a problem. This is the output of the company. 2,313, 2,100 units, 4,400 units, 10,500 units, 8,500 units, 15,000. The minimum rent payable by the lessee to lessor, either the minimum rent or the royalty, whichever is more. What's the formula? Either the royalty or the minimum rent, whichever is the more. 75,000, 1,25,000, 2,50,000, 2,12,500, 2,50,000. Royalty at rupees 25 rupees per ton, that is per unit of production. Any shortage, short working, recovered in next year. First year short working, 2013 short working should be recovered in 2015. 2014 should be recovered in 2016. Next 2 years it should be recovered. We'll follow the table now. This is called royalties analysis table. The 2013 output is 2,100 with a minimum rent of 75,000, royalty around 52,500. So there is a shortage of 22,500. Either the minimum rent or the royalty, whichever is higher, is payable to landlord. Here, your minimum rent is 75,000, your royalty is 52,500. There was a shortage of 22,500. So no surplus, no recoupment, no recover short working. So paid to landlord is or payable to landlord is 75,000, whichever is more. Come back to second year. Your output is 4,400. Minimum rent is 1,25,000 as per the problem. So 25 into 4,400 is 1,10,000. This is the royalty. This is a minimum rent. Whichever is more payable is 1,25,000. How much shortage? 15,000. So total this 22,500 should be recovered in the next year. If it is not transferred, then irrecoverable, transfer to irrecoverable short working means transfer to profit and loss account. Then in the third year, your output is 1,05,000 into 25, it becomes 2,62,500 with a minimum rent of 2,50,000. What the owner will do, he will say, you pay the minimum rent, how much surplus comes, that can be adjusted to your short working. Here your surplus comes 12,500. How much shortage in the first year? 22,500. Adjusted how much? 12,500. Means surplus recovered 12,500. How much you could not be recovered? 10,000. This is the loss. So what's the total amount? 22,500. So how much surplus is 12,500? It is adjusted to start working, recover. So totally shortage is 22,500. Out of how much recover? 12,500 is recovered. How much you could not recover? 10,000. It's a loss. Payable to minimum rent of 2,50,000. Not less than 2,50,000. You must be careful. Either the minimum rent or royalty, whichever is more. Actually, he has to pay 2,62,500. What the landlord says, I will give a chance to recover your short working next 2 years. So pay the minimum rent, 2,50,000. How much excess will come? 12,500. That can be recovered out of 22,500. How much we could not recover? 10,000 transferred to profit and loss account. Then come back to next year. This should be recovered now, 15,000. So 8,500, 2,12,500 is the minimum rate with a royalty of rupees 2,12,500 only. So here 2,12,000, 2,12,000. So how much should be recovered now? 15,000 should be recovered, which cannot be recovered. It has been transferred to profit and short. Here 15,000 is recovered, transferred to profit and loss account. This is nothing but a loss. So how much payable to landlord? 2,12,500. So every short working will have 2 years time. Out of 22,500, how much recover? 12,500. How much could not recover? 10,000. The balance. Here 15,000 should be recovered next 2 years, which could not be recovered. Transfer to profit and loss account. This is nothing but P&L account. Loss is. Irrecovered short working means profit and loss account. In the last year, 15,000, minimum rate is 2,50,000, your royalty is 3,75,500, whichever is more is the royalty, payable to royalty. What the law says, the landlord, either the royalty or the minimum rent, whichever is more. Which is more here? Royalty, pay the royalty. If the minimum rent is more, pay the minimum rent. Either the minimum rent or the royalty, whichever is more. So if the minimum rent is more, royalty is less, the difference is called short working. Every short working should be recovered in next 2 years. So when you pass the entry, when the minimum rent is more, we have to pay the minimum rent. Minimum rent account data to landlord. For that, how much royalty is receivable? By royalty account 52,500. How much shortage? 22,500. So here in this case, which is more? Minimum rent is more. Then we have to pay the minimum rent to landlord. How much money? 75,000 for that year. How much royalty is 52,500? How much shortage? 22,500. In the next year also, your minimum rent is more than the royalty. How much is payable? 1,25,000. How much royalty receivable? 1,10,000. How much shortage? 15,000. This is the two shortages. So a chance will be given to lessee to recover the shortage in the next year. What is short working? Minimum rent minus royalty is called short working. That should be recovered in how many years? 2 years. If you could not recover in the 2 years, that will be transferred to profit and loss account. This is a loss to the lessee. Then move on. Landlord account. Every year, if you see that we are paying the year, now that ledger you have to look after. Here you are paying 75,000 is the royalty, 1,25,000 is the royalty. This is the minimum rent you are paying. This is the minimum rent you are paying. This is the minimum rent. This is the royalty. Out of the royalty, how much minimum rent is paying? 2,50,000. How much is the royalty? 2,12,500 is paying. How much royalty is payable? 3 lakhs. So in a landlord account, we say that two bank. So it will come. You have to see that it is a minimum rent or royalty. We'll move on. You are paying 75,000 to landlord. So this is your minimum rent. Next year you are paying how much? 1,25,000. What is this? This is the minimum rent as per the table. You are paying in the third year, how much you are paying? 2,50,000. This is that royalty rent. Next year, you are paying how much? 2,12,500. Once again, it's royalty rent. In the third year, you are paying 3,75,000. It's nothing but a royalty. So here always you come to cash or to bank account. You are paying to a landlord. You have to see that it's a minimum rent or royalty. Minimum rent or royalty you have to look after. Come back next. Royalty to minimum rent, 52. What's the entry? Royalty account debtor to landlord account. Here, no, first here, royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to minimum rent. What's the royalty? 52,500, transfer to P&L account. Second year royalty, minimum rent is more. Royalty to minimum rent, 1,25,000, transfer to P&L account. Royalty to landlord, to short working. This is 2,62,500, transfer to profit and loss account. Royalty to landlord, 2,12,500 by profit and loss account. Royalty to landlord, 3,75,000 transfer to P&L account. So here in 2 years only minimum rent is more. In the 3 years royalty is more. So when the royalty is more, royalty to landlord to short working. Royalty to landlord to short working. Royalty to landlord by profit. Royalty to landlord by profit and loss account. Then short working, royalty account debtor, short working account debtor to minimum, short working to minimum rent 22,500 by balance carried down, to balance brought down, second year shortage 15,000, total shortage is 37,500 by balance carried down 37,500. You brought down to next year, to balance brought down 37,500. How much royalty is rent receivable? 12,500. How much you could not recover? 10,000. This is nothing but a loss. What's the still balance is 15,000. Next year brought down 15,000. So transfer to profit and loss account. So I will repeat. Short working to minimum rent 22,500 by balance carried on 22,500. Brought down 22,500. Next year shortage is 15,000. What's the total shortage? 37,500 by balance carried on 37,500. This amount should be recovered here. Third year 37,500. How much recover? 12,500 out of this. 12,500 recover. How much you could not recover? 10,000. What's the balance? 15. This 15,000. Then next year royalty is more. How much recover? 15,000. Transfer to profit and loss. Whether you recover 15,000 by profit and loss on which could not be recovered. So transfer to profit and loss account. First you have to prepare the table. This table you have to read. What's the table format? Year, output, minimum rent, royalty, short working, surplus, short working recoupment, irrecoverable short working is transferred to profit and loss account, amount payable to landlord. What is the first one? Year, output, the minimum rent, royalty, short working, how much surplus, short working recoupment, irrecoverable short working not recoverable, not yet recovered, transfer to P&L account, payable to landlord. First, if you work out, from this you are going to prepare the ledger. Minimum rent to landlord by royalty by short working, minimum rent to landlord by royalty by short working. Then come back to landlord. You are paying to landlord now 75,000 payable, paid. What is that is? Minimum rent. Second year you paid how much? 1,25,000. What is that? Minimum rent. Third year you paid 2,50,000. What is that? Royalty rent. Next year you are paying 2,12,000. What is that is? Royalty. Next year you paid 3,75,000. What is that is? Royalty. Royalty to minimum rent by profit and loss account. Royalty to minimum rent by profit and loss account. Next, royalty to landlord to short working by profit and loss account. Royalty to landlord by profit and loss account. Royalty to landlord by profit and transfer entry. Short working to minimum rent by balance carried down, brought down. Second year shortage is 15,000. What's the total shortage? 37,500 by balance carried down, brought down 37,500. Royalty is more. You recovered how much? 12,500. How much you could not be recovered? 10,000. This 15,000 is that should be recovered in the next year. To balance which could not be recovered, transfer to profit and loss account. Hope you understand. Very, very easy. But you learn the table. Learn is most important, the table. All things goes on table only. In the next session, we'll have some more problems on the royalty. We are doing the unit 3. Already this is the third problem which I am doing. We'll have some more problems on royalty. Till then, goodbye. Meet in the next session.